Hey guys, what is up? It is Pieces of Prestige and welcome back to Building Parc Miranda. This is episode 7 already, and if you haven't seen the previous episodes, go ahead and click in the top right of your screen right now. There's a little card, and if you click that, you'll be taken to the playlist of the entire park. So you can start with episode 1 and just, work your way forward, and that's pretty cool. Anyhow, I deleted the trees right here, and I added this little sidewalk. I deleted the trees that were in these planters because, well, they were just kind of messing up the view. And right now we still kind of have this view of the little hill, the queue going up, and then the train in the station right there. And I love the way the station looks from here. So that's basically what I did, like, off camera. And right here also, I just added this little curb right here to the side. And these are just like the brick decorative course pieces. Like, there we go, classic brick decorative course. And I think that just works like amazingly to just kind of create a little boundary between the path and the sand right here. Instead of just the normal curbs on the path, because that would kind of screw up this part right here with the boardwalk. But yeah, that's basically all we did. So now I'm just gonna step into the time lapse, and yeah, let's get to building the first coaster. Let's go. Alright, so what I do want you to know, like, before we actually build the entire coaster, is what I was inspired by for this coaster. And of course, it is PortAventura, and it is Furious Baco. I'm not sure if you guys have ever ridden it. It's one of the most, well, I think the most painful coaster I have ever been on. If you look up any sort of review on it, I think, you will hear the same. But basically, it's just a very shaky ride. And this being B&M, I kind of wanted it to be very smooth instead of being like Furious Baco. So I thought, but let's just make the layout a little bit different instead of launching it right away, because basically Furious Baco is, as you can see in the top right of your screen, it's a wing coaster, and it's launched through a tunnel, and then it goes through a series of, you can call them, they're not really helixes, but they're just turns basically, and then it crosses over itself I think 2 times, then it does a barrel roll and then goes over the path, like the main boulevard, and like skims over the water and then goes back into the station. And I kind of wanted to create that here, but I kind of wanted it to be a little bit different. So we're going to add a lot of theming and some buildings to it. And right there you can actually see like this, the little block break that I put right there. That's going to hold the train for, I hope, about 10 to 15 seconds, in which I can just let it sit in the actual like second station building thing before it actually goes onto the launch track and gets shut off into like the rest of the layout. And you're gonna see that in the next episode. We're not gonna work on like the theming of the coaster in this episode, just a little bit terrain work and mostly track work, and also a little bit of the backstage planning. And it's gonna be, I really want to incorporate that into every single piece of the park, and that's also why we're doing that here before we actually build the rest of the theming. And that's just because I don't want to like try to put in the back alleys in the park. I don't want to put them in afterwards and have to like change some stuff, and maybe it doesn't fit and it's just all cramped up. I really want it to be planned out, and that's also why I'm doing that. So right here you can see I'm actually building the track out of all little pieces. I think they are 4 meters long, like the length of the track pieces. And you can build your coaster like this, and the way I do that is basically I place a lot of different a lot of pieces like this in the turn. And in the end, you can kind of smooth them out, but you will still get a little bit of jerkiness with it. It kind of actually feels like the real Furious Baco when you ride it, because the banking will never be completely smooth. And the way you can do that is by, like, in the end, when you have the entire shape done and it's smooth out and everything, what I like to do is I just like to remove one piece and then connecting it, like, back in one like little track piece. So instead of having these 4 meter track pieces, you'll end up having 8 or maybe even 12 if you really feel like it, meter long track pieces, and that will make the coaster really smooth. Now right here you can actually see the jerkiness in the banking right there with all the little pieces, but just smoothing that out a little bit will create sort of the main shape. And I must say this coaster is very much stretched out, and it will be kind of boring to ride, I suppose. But it's all about the launch. I want the launch and like the pre-launch area to be very cool. And we're going to try to make that as cool as possible. It's going to come in the next episode. And we're going to work on that. Right here, I must say this little airtime hill right here is way too stretched out. So I will end up like removing that and doing it over again. Right here, just planning out the path a little bit. And I used the incredible the incredible path tutorial from Silvarret. The link is in the description if you want to see it, but it's amazing. You will like learn how to make smooth paths like this. It's great. And anyhow, I tried to use that right here to make the boulevard a little bit wider so that you get more of a coaster interaction with it. And it actually worked out fine because I really wanted a support like in the center right there of the path, and it kind of worked out. Now right here you can see it's just a single one, but after we delete like because we actually, well, okay, let's just say like this, I actually reverse engineered it. So instead of connecting the thing, like the entire track up back into the station, what I do is I actually build the brake section first, you know, from the section on out, and then I make the turns that connect to the rest of the track. And that way you get a really smooth transition from the actual track onto, onto the station right there and the brake run. And I really like, you know, how it ends up. And right here, I think in a moment I'm going to be deleting some of the supports, but I'm not totally sure about that. Anyhow, you know, adding a couple of trains to it. 2 trains is perfect because when the first train is almost done with the, well, basically halfway through the circuit, the other one is already waiting. As you can see right now, it's waiting right there, and it's going to be waiting in there, like in the pre-launch building, and we're going to be able to add some sound effects and some soundtrack maybe to it, and it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to get started on that. But yeah, you'll see that coming up. Now right here, this is actually where I start doing the planning for the, for the railway and also for the backstage part. Now here you can see me just place this railway right here. I'm gonna make it go around the around the coaster, and here just kind of smoothing out the terrain, making a more natural slope. I tried to make it as smooth as possible right here. It didn't really work out. So when you use, in the end, use the flatten the surface tool, that actually works out like a lot better. And you're gonna see that in a couple of seconds. I'm gonna grab that tool and just make it like totally straight. There you go. That's very, I like it very much, and I'm gonna keep using that tool for this. I think it just creates this real, I'm not sure, like this real kind of surface for the railway to like be on. And when I was building this, I was thinking like, wait, I have done something wrong, because if this is like this, there is no freaking way that you can actually access the coaster. So I had to make a little bridge here. And you might have seen this on my Twitter already. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can. The link is in the description down below. But basically, I built a cool railway bridge here, and just clarifying what I'm doing here with the actual track. Like, in the last episode, I actually said that the track would go all the way around the outer perimeter of the park and also like the inner perimeter, I guess, of the lake. And that is still happening, but it's just going to be going around this coaster. And that's just something that I wanted to do here. And also I wanted to make this kind of a double track system. Now the trains will ride on the, let's see, the left side, yeah, the left side of the tracks, which is a little bit awkward. But I guess it can work for this. This is just a little bit of a turn-back loop. And that's just gonna be here, and then basically as you can see right now, the outer track will go around the outer perimeter of the park, like just outside, or well, just inside of all the backstage stuff. And then the other like railway will go all the way around the lake. And that's just the way it's gonna be. But right here, just adding a little bit of more terrain. And as you can see, I added this little street right here that will lead to the coaster, and I really like the way that it looks. And for that, we needed a pretty cool bridge. And I thought, you know what, I really wanted to make this truss bridge, and I decided to just do that. Now right here you can see like the methods that I used last episode to actually put the lighting in place. I used it here as well, which is basically just getting the non-sticking to grid, I suppose, pieces of scenery and pieces of building parts basically, and just grabbing them and also copying them together with a object that is actually aligned to the grid, and that way you can align everything to the grid when you actually copy them, and which is very nice. So I tried to make them a little bit wider, and right now just rotating and placing him back into the truss. And I think this truss looks pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think about it in the description. Also in the description there's a little link to the Steam Workshop where you can download the thing, and yeah, I would really appreciate some feedback. Now, what you will see is that it's a very simple design, and it is probably not structurally sound, but of course it's just a game. I tried to make it a little bit realistic though, like adding some braces here and there, and I might actually add some bracing to the bottom, like to the bottom of the trusses, so that the trusses actually connect and cannot buckle, basically. The bottom might just buckle. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not pretty sure how like that would affect it in the game, because the game of course is not a structural analysis program, which I have been spending way too much time in. And yeah, let's just keep talking about the game instead of talking about what I'm doing with my life. So yeah, right here, placing the bridge, I was really happy with how it looked. The only thing was that it's a little bit difficult to make the abutments, like the basis of the bridge, to make them look pretty. And what you can see right here is basically that I added these little walls right here and just tried to make the terrain like sort of attached to it like this. And I think it works out okay for now. We might see, like, we might use some rocks or something to make it a little more interesting, but of course, you know, you gotta imagine it's still just a little backstage part of the park, and it's just a little touch that I really like. And you can download the entire bridge. There's actually a third truss right now that I'm going to make. It's gonna go in the center, but yeah, you can download this bridge and use it for your own. You can also like take it apart and edit it a little bit, maybe make it better or make it more beautiful, or add some colors to it or some more detail, whatever you want. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. Now right here, just putting the railings on top of the abutments as well. And that almost concludes this entire episode. Just, you know, making the little blueprint right here and then publishing it. And that is basically it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like and be sure to subscribe, because next week on Friday there's going to be a new episode of building Parc Miranda in Planet Coaster. And it's going to be awesome. So I hope to see you guys there. And until then, peace from Pieces of Prestige.